you obviously saw the movie.
Yeah.
What do you think was just wrong with the movie? Like, which parts do you think were inaccurate? I mean, because for example, I'll tell you a few things that stood out when I watched it. Tupac recorded Hail Mary on the Machiavelli album way later.
Yeah.
So when he was doing Hail Mary in the studio and Dre played California Love, that clearly was chronologically wrong.
Right.
That was one glaring thing, which is not that big of a deal.
Yeah, not that big of a deal.
But what, from your point of view, when you saw the movie, what was inaccurate?
Well, another thing, then I know like they always say, oh, well, we didn't have time to do it or whatever. Somebody who was very pivotal in the success and the sound of N.W.A. was Donovan Smith, who was our engineer, who owned Audio Achievements, the studio in Torrance that we recorded at. He's nowhere to be seen. He was always there hanging out with us. Always. Like part of the family, part of that thing. And it seemed like Jerry was there all the time. Jerry was hardly around with us in the studio or on tour. You know what I mean? But that was part of the movie. I understand you got a big star that got to play Jerry Heller. You got to put him in the movie to build that story. So that, and just like 50% of the scenes in real life, I was there. Like when they did the skating rink for the first time, that was me there. I don't think DLC wasn't there that early. He hadn't even come out from Texas yet when we were doing all that early stuff.
But wasn't he with the posse though?
That's because Don just threw him on there.
Oh, okay.
See what I'm saying? Okay. Don just threw Feel It Fresh Crew. He's part of Feel It Fresh Crew.
Okay.
Don just threw that on the album. He wasn't on the cover and none of that. I mean, you know what I mean? It was just Yeah. So I don't think he was there that early. A lot of the scenes in real life, I was there. I'm just not there in the film. Which I'm like, if you're gonna write me out of a movie, shoot some other scenes. Don't write scenes where I was there, you know, and do that, you know. So, and, you know, to Lonzo, I mean, they made him look like the dude from Purple Rain, the hating club owner, you know, instead of somebody who kind of helped Dre start his career.
Right. And I talked to Lonzo. You saw the interviews.
Yeah.
Lonzo was glad to be in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
He wasn't tripping. I thought I'd get like a real bitter, like they dissed me, but he's like, nah, man, I love the fact that I was
in it,
presented in the movie.
Yeah.
You know, and he said that, because there was a whole scene where they were playing Boys in the Hood, and Lonzo's like, man, that's some bullshit.
Yeah.
He goes, no, I didn't say that. It seemed like Dre was trying to push the hip hop stuff, and you were shutting him down and saying people don't want to hear that shit. They want to hear this slow jam R&B shit. Was that really happening?
No, man. I laughed at that part. You know, I laughed at. Like first of all,
at the club.
First of all, I enjoyed the movie. Okay, it was a great fusion of fantasy and reality. Okay. I never really had a problem with that per se. We never at Dudo's gangster music wasn't around yet. There was no, Ice Cube hadn't hit the scene yet. When Ice Cube came to me as an artist with CIA or Stereo Crew, they were doing semi-Beastie Boy imitations.
I just think that, you know, there was a lot of stuff chronologically that was wrong, you know, because Cube went away to college first, then came back. It wasn't like straight out of high school. And, you know, just little stuff, like you said, probably don't make that big of a deal. It was just a lot of little things. I said in another interview that I did recently, I'm like, if you're going to make a movie and you leave somebody out of it, make sure they're dead first and not alive to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm on the album cover. I was there. They could have put me in the movie 2 seconds or just had me sitting on the couch or whatever. No one would have cared. You know, like, there's not much on Yella or Ren, unfortunately. I'm not saying to diss them. I think Ren should have had a way bigger role in the film.
Right, and let's talk about that because, I mean, I would say that Ice Cube was sort of the main, well, I would say Ice Cube and Eazy were sort of the main rappers in N.W.A. in terms of, I felt the tension, but I felt that Ren was a very close third, and then Dre, you know, after that.
But Ren was probably,
Ren had solo songs and everything.
Yeah, he should have been represented just as much as everybody else. That's my opinion. You know, he was there from the beginning. He stayed after everybody left. He put out his own records on Ruthless. So he's definitely a lifer on Ruthless Records. And the Ruthless villain, I mean, he was one of the You know what I mean? Like, fool, Ren wasn't no joke. You know what I mean? So I think that he should have been represented a lot better.
Why do you think they played him down?
I really just think that star power matters. You know, Dre's a big name, Cube's a big name, Eazy's a big name.
Yeah.
And that mattered more than the full story, you know. And I think sometimes, you know, it's what it is to get the sales, get the ratings. But I think if they had shown Ren more, I don't think that would have taken away from anything. They could have cut. There was a lot of stuff in there. They could have cut out the movie. I saw some scenes like they could have left this out. They could have
Like
left
what?
that out.
Give me an example.
Just the random stuff. You know what I mean? Like there were a couple scenes where the early interactions with Suge. You know what I mean? Because Suge was N.W.A.'s bodyguard, but they never showed that. They just showed Suge as just being a
DMC's road manager.
And then, you know,
Right.
It's stuff just skipped around. You
Right.
know, so
Michelle A was talking about that, how basically Suge would basically just show up and say, I got y'all, and at the end of the night he'd be like, give me $100.
yeah.
Suge was DOC's bodyguard at the time.
People keep saying that he was, but Suge was everybody's bodyguard if he was somewhere. And he'll be like, I'm going to watch you tonight, but you going to give me my $300 when we leave. So whoever was there that had some money or had a name, he was their bodyguard. If Mickey Mouse would have been there, he would have been like, Mickey, I got you tonight, but I want my
300.
Yeah, I want my 300.
I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a director. I'm not a producer. The movie was amazing, and as a movie.
Yeah, F. Gary Gray did a great job.
Oh yeah. So I'm not taking it away from the film.
When you compare it to, like, let's say the Biggie movie,
Oh, yeah.
Biggie movie looked like, the Aaliyah biopic or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm joking, but the Biggie movie wasn't bad, but it's not in the same caliber as Straight Outta Compton.
No. This is a major film, and
Yeah.
it did well, and I liked it as a movie. It's just that, like I said, being there, knowing the real story, they could have told the real story, and it wouldn't have changed anything. It would have just been more, you know, to what it really was.
Okay. Well, this is something that me and Lonzo talked about. When N.W.A. came out, I was still in high school, and I was living in the suburbs. And when I first heard Ice Cube, I thought this was a mass murdering super gangster, triple OG,
Right.
like the hardest motherfucker on the planet.
Yeah.
But Lonzo, I guess, gave Cube his first record deal at like 15, gave
Yeah.
like a little three song deal, and essentially said that Cube really was never involved in any of that type of stuff. Now, what about the Ice Cube?
Ice Cube was a great kid, just a nice kid.
So Ice Cube wasn't gangbanging at all.
No.
Was it a little weird hearing about all this gangbanging stuff from someone that doesn't gangbang at all?
Fucked me up.
Yeah.
The fuck who? I'm like, you got to be bullshit.
Like songs like Gangster, Like I thought Ice Cube was the most gangster motherfucker on the planet.
You know what?
I thought Ice Cube come in here and kill everybody. You know what I mean?
He's a great actor.
Now, I think that the only one in the group, Eazy, you know, was probably the one. And then
I heard
you know,
Ren a little bit also.
Ren a little bit because he lived in the neighborhood, you know. But other than that, nah, we was just making music.
So
doing our thing.
no one was gangsters.
Like I told somebody, I gangbanged for 2 days, and when I saw somebody get beat down, I was done. I'm playing football.
So how did you guys pull off this gangster gangbanging type persona when really Eazy was the only one gangbanging? And I even heard that Eazy wasn't really part of a gang.
No,
like
he's just
that.
hustling.
He was just hustling,
Just
essentially.
hustling, you know,
he was just
streets,
selling
in the
drugs
streets,
and so
yeah.
forth. Like he wasn't actually
Yeah,
going
but he
out
was-
there.
But he was crazy. You know what I mean? Like I seen Eazy do some stuff, but I think it was just the fact that honestly, man, we were just telling stories about what was going on in our hood, and a lot of that shit happened to us. You know what I mean? Like you got tired of the whole police thing. You know what I mean? Like because you got to remember, even though we didn't have a lot of money before N.W.A, me and Dre was still making records and on tour, and you know, for our age, we had money as compared to other people. Yeah. So we had cars and pagers and cell phones, you know, like those kind of things. And I think that police saw that and was always sweating us, and that was part of what fueled
Fuck the police.
and fueled the whole N.W.A thing. We was just tired of that shit.
Okay.
You know?
But there's that, but there's like never should have been let out the penitentiary, with a crime record like Charles Manson. Like, it was so vividly put that I don't know how you could have actually said that without actually experiencing it. But the way Lonzo said it is that Ice Cube is an excellent actor.
Yeah, he can write. He can write, and Ren can write. And not saying, like I said, I'm not taking nothing from him. Okay. It was amazing. It was amazing music, amazing lyrics, amazing art.
Yeah.
But it's what it is. I mean, I ain't never tried to be nothing I'm not. I was in the group. We did that thing. And,
But these days, when something like this happens, you'd refer to something like that as a studio gangster. Like,
right.
oh, he's a studio gangster. He's not really out there doing this shit and so forth. But it seemed like back then it was more accepted.
Well, like I said, nobody had done anything like that.
Okay.
And just because
Ice-T was talking about it, but Ice-T, I heard, was actually doing a lot of that shit.
Yeah. But two, you got to understand, we still lived in the hood. So, like, for me, I lived in Compton. I grew up in Compton. My uncles and my cousins was all banging. They was all in the street getting shot and all that. So you see that growing up. So maybe you personally might not have a personal experience, but around you
see it.
Is that story. Yeah.
And it was presented in the movie where Ice Cube was just, was in the back of the bus basically writing about, people running up on the bus and pulling guns out and stuff like that. So they didn't try to play up that overly gangster persona in that thing. Yeah. But you said that Eazy-E was crazy.
Eazy is crazy. I mean, crazy.
So what's the craziest thing? I mean, clearly there's not going to be any criminal investigation.
I can't even go into it, dude. But yeah, I remember. I just remember we were on tour, man, and we was about to fight some fools, and I turned around. I don't know where Eazy had a hammer. I don't know if he had it in his pocket or what, but he about to kill somebody with a hammer. He was just a little crazy dude. Period. Wasn't scared of nothing. Like nothing.
Okay, so the scenes where they pulled out the guns on them dudes in the hotel room and stuff like that, was that actually happening?
I mean, I wasn't there for that.
You weren't there for that.
But you know what? But I think I might have been there. I might have been there because I was there for the show with the police. What happened with the police thing? I was there for that. And I was there for a few other shows. So I might have been there. It might have just been changed, whatever. But I remember the only time I remember we had like a gang of guns is we were coming back on tour, and we had stopped at a county fair on the way back, and we just went to the fair hanging out, and there was a gun show at the fair, and we was like, fools was just buying up guns and just bringing them on the bus, So everybody had guns, yeah.
But were you guys actually carrying around guns during that time?
Yes and no.
Yes and no?
Yeah. I'll leave it like that.
Leave it like that.
Yeah.
Is it a diss or is it not a diss?
Nah, it ain't a diss. It just me stating facts, like letting like that ain't something that we honor. Like we don't joke about that. Like we done lost homies over that shit. So it just letting I'm stating facts.
Like he didn't care about that, man. Like,
but he was doing a diss record.
Yeah, I mean, of course, because you got to understand, Eazy's a smart man. You know what I'm saying? And he always was looking for a way to gain something from publicity.